Hello, and we are live. ADV in the house. Hopefully you can hear me. I am coming on here to teach you a little bit about thyroid and how to treat it naturally, because as usual, there have been many requests about what do I do about a thyroid nodule, thyroid problem. And I just realized recently, I don't think I've really done a dedicated video on thyroid health. I've done various detoxes, talking about liver, because there's a relationship with the endocrine system, the liver and the thyroid, but I haven't really talked about how we deal with this problem, because I realized today that because of this whole charade, let us call it, going on in the world today, that there are many more stressed out people than pretty much ever before. And what happens when you have stressed out people? Yeah, you get adrenal problems. What happens when you have long-term, long-standing adrenal problems? Well, it starts to affect the thyroid. What happens when you have long-standing thyroid problems? Well, it starts to affect the brain and the pituitary. So it's a whole axis of not evil. I'm going to try not to talk about the evil going on right now. It's going to be really hard for me to stay on point, but I'm going to work at it. I have a lot of opinions about all that. So I'm going to try to be focused, be zen on this one. I have a bunch of supplements next to me I'm going to show you about. I really want to just get practical, honestly, because people are going into dangerous situations, aka their cult medical facilities and hospitals and with the quacks, the white coats, pushers of drugs and suppression, surgeries and biopsies and all kinds of insanity that they tout as if they're helping people. You need your thyroid, guys, so you don't cut it. You don't have it removed. You don't have it radioablated. You don't biopsy anything. You don't biopsy anything ever. And a shame on holistic practitioners that they even use such a term for themselves, and they go and say to said client, patient, whomever, we won't work with you unless you have a biopsy. Go fuck yourselves. You're a bunch of fucking quacks. That's what all you are. You have no concept of health. You don't know how the body works. You have no concept of biochemistry. You probably slept through those classes. You're an idiot. Okay? You don't need to cut anything ever. It doesn't matter what type of the histology is. The histology is irrelevant. It's irrelevant. Okay? All you need are signs and symptoms. The backstory of the patient is helpful, very helpful. If you find out what they went through, you know where it usually starts. You do know, right? It starts at birth, yeah? It usually starts with those injections they think are so life-saving. Yeah, that's where the story usually begins, in the decline of the health of the individual. So you know where it starts. And then what happens next is the poisoning through the bad foods and the lack of breast milk and all the improper sugary disgustingness that goes into your child, because it's a treat, and you destroy their gut, okay? Then you have all kinds of downhill spirals going on in the health of the child, and nobody knows. And then you go into the death cult, and what do? They add insult to industry. They do. I love when the truth just rips right through it, because it's all freaking industry, every last bit of it. Insult to injury, and they suppress it, and then they kill the microbes with the antibiotics, and then they cut stuff and they burn stuff. They're morons. They're morons. Maybe they think they're doing great. Maybe they think they're nice people. They might even be nice people, okay? I don't know. But they're dumb because they're in the cult indoctrination. They think germs cause disease. They think viruses are real. They believe in invisible boogeymen. They think that cutting stuff is the only way to heal anything. They're dumb, okay? All right. let's get to the meat and potatoes of this whole situation. So the story goes, oh, I can't lose weight. I'm tired all the time. My energy feels sluggish. I feel like I'm dragging ass all day long. That kind of story. I have midsection fat that I can't lose, won't go anywhere, right? I'm constantly stressed. I eat stressed. I can't sleep. I can't poop. Okay? My skin's rough and a mess, right? This is the story, the admixture when you have usually a hypothyroid situation. We will talk about hyperthyroid. We'll talk about Hashimoto's. We'll talk about the lies of what people think autoimmune diseases are. Okay, let me just say it right here. Autoimmune diseases don't exist. Okay? You don't have an immune system. That's an artifact of the pharmaceutical cartel. They have to make up a system to make up the drug that tells you that it helps the system that you have, but you don't have that system. Okay? So this is how they play the game. Yeah? This is how they lie. So you have a lymphatic system that's involved with the spleen and it's interacting with the liver and interacting with the other organ systems, but you don't have an immune system. Okay. I've used the term in the past so that you can relate to what I'm talking about, but I'm realizing I have to just completely throw the words in the garbage altogether and just stop trying to, I'm not going to lower myself to someone's level. I'm going to work to bring them through and up into it. That's the goal. I have to remember, I don't sink, I don't drop myself to serve. You can't do that. You have to lift people with you to serve. You might be able to lift them here, but at least you lifted them. They might sink right back down again. They might. That's your risk. They might, but you can't go there. Don't go there. That's you drowning with them. That's stupid. I'm not doing stupid. So we're going to lift. We're lifting you up. Just let's go, everybody. Okay. The thyroid gland. What is it? It's a little butterfly-shaped gland, goes around the cricoid cartilage, which is going around the trachea. So this is here. This is Savell's area. I can literally look at someone's neck and I can see if they have a thyroid problem. I can literally look at their neck and see and that it's actually a test that we learn in medical school where you go into a low light room and you shine a light in a particular angle and you will see a swollen thyroid gland by doing so. And in that, you will understand that there is a problem, okay? There are parathyroid glands. There's 4 of them, one on each quadrant of the thyroid sitting on top. This is responsible for calcium and hormone production and what it relates to the kidneys. It sends signals to the kidneys to get rid of excess minerals. The whole body is like a dance. It's like a refined, it's like this. I don't know. Can you get it? It's a dance. Signals are going like as fast as you can imagine, and all of these interactions are happening. That's what holism is. That's what holistic means when we say that. We're talking about the whole picture. We're not going to isolate a gland and go, oh, something wrong with the gland. Better cut it out. Better burn it. Better throw it in the fire. Burn it. Burn it. We don't need that shit. That's what these maniacs do, because they don't understand how related it is to everything. So if you see, so this is normal. Yes, I'm going to be 47. Relax. Okay. So I'm a female. I don't have an Adam's apple. You may want to study the necks of females versus males. It just helps you out with a couple of things. First of all, female necks tend to be underneath the jawline, slim, and male necks tend to balance out with the head, and you get the big old end. Just as an aside, it might help you in future reference. All right. So if you see it swollen, you have to understand the histology for a second. But just through here, you don't need to cut it to see the histology. You need to understand what happens when something's swollen. What's happening? Think about why a tissue would get swollen. What's going on? Well, usually when you have swelling, you have, come on, everyone, let's lift you up. Inflammation. That's right. You knew it. You knew it. So if you have tissue inflammation, why would you have tissue inflammation? Please, let's go, class. Why would something be inflamed? Okay, so the body doesn't do anything by accident. It's doing an inflammation because it needs to. Now, why would it need to? Well, it's going to mobilize something. It's got to move something. When it's swollen, you can get roads in and roads out to a tissue. You can deliver nutrients and you can remove wastes. That's what happens. That's why we have inflammatory mediators. They tell the body information, and they help the construction workers get their tools to the job site and wastes and debris out to the dump. Yeah. So it's swollen. It sounds like it's working pretty hard, doesn't it? If it's swollen and the tissue is, actively, you can see it, that to me sounds like it's working really hard, right? Now, why would it be having to work so hard? Why would the tissue be inflamed in the first place? Well, in the case of toxic thyroid systems or situations like Hashimoto's, for example, you have a toxin that has caused a problem, an immediate problem, and needs to be removed badly. It could be a metal, it could be a nanoparticulate, it could be from some sort of, if they're smoking and there's all these chemicals, any type of chemical exposure. It could be from one of those. It could have been from a surgery and they were given a certain type of material when they were going for the surgery, like the anesthetic, right? And it also could be from a massive amount of your own cortisol from, say, an extreme event, say a very stressful event, say a loss of a loved one, sudden death. The amount of emotional stress that just gets immediately, right, can cause a cytokine storm and a toxic situation, a toxic goiter, a hypothyroid situation, or even a hyperthyroid situation. Don't worry about hyper so much regarding those types of situations. It'll go both. It'll go hyper and then it'll go hypo. It's trying to balance it out. So it's going to go up and down. If it's hypothyroid, it's mostly been on the low side, which means it's already depleted. When it's on the hyper side, it's pushing hard. It's really like, oh, this is our last hurrah. Let's give it a go. Let's try to fix this. If we don't have much resources left, let's really try to get this sorted out. Okay. That's what happens. And then it says, oh, we tried, we failed, we're down. Okay. That's all you have to consider with the difference. So most people with hyperthyroidism, they look kind of like this. Hi, how you doing? Their eyes are like bulging out because their metabolism is like where most people would love their metabolism to be, except without the eyes. The eye side effect isn't very nice. You kind of look shocked all the time. And that's because there's so much pressure in the back of the eye. It's just pushing it right out. So you'll see people who do that, and they have a problem with their thyroid when they look like that, okay? And you also, this is, I find interesting, and an aside, of course, those MK Ultra victims, they often look like that, don't they? Remember Manson? He looks like that, isn't he? Yeah, what's that on about? Well, I'm sure he's presenting hyperthyroid because, or any of them are, because they're under such a heavy critical cortisol load because they were abused as children. And when they do the MK Ultra, they actually do dissociation, and dissociation is you're undergoing constant stress response. So they get the kind of the boogie eyes going on. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm just looking at comments. Nice to see you all here. Okay, so listen, let's focus on the correction. The cause, massive stress, cortisol problem, adrenal fatigue, nutritional deficiencies, toxins that have gotten into the system, the endocrine system, even long-standing congestion of the liver. So you're talking constipation, all kinds of liver disorders can lead to that. If there's a nodule, now, we talked about it working hard and it's swollen. Now, what happens when you work it hard and work it hard? You don't pay it, you don't feed it, and it gets hard and crusty, okay? That's what's going to happen. The tissue is actually going to get scarified. It's going to get so damaged that it's going to not become soft and supple tissue anymore. It's actually damaged tissue. So you can create scar tissue by the gland being so abused that it starts to actually crenate and cause nodules, right? That tissue has been so overworked. It's like beating a dead horse trying to get that thing anywhere. Then they get you trapped, don't they? Then what happens? You go to the quacks, and what do? Oh, your T4 levels, blah, blah, blah. They don't even check for Wilson's temperature syndrome, by the way. Wilson's temperature syndrome is a very legitimate and proper imbalance in the T3 and the free T3, because you have T3, T4, okay, which basically it's a type of metabolic signal that is not breaking down properly in the body. And you can have it's called Wilson's temperature syndrome. And I actually went to Sedona, Arizona, and got training specifically in this very unique aspect of thyroid disease. And you actually need to be prescribed pure free T3, and it will correct it completely if you want to go that route. I think now there's actually a nutritional way you could just correct it. But if you're stuck, that's your situation, then you may want to look up Wilson's temperature syndrome so you understand that it's a legitimate thing and that it's never diagnosed. I mean, again, they just don't know, and they don't seem to care either. So that is a specific problem where you're not actually, on paper, you look fine, but you have all the symptoms of thyroid disease. And then so this created damaged tissue. So if you continue to damage the tissue without giving the nutritional reserves, without allowing the body to remove the waste, you get cancer. That's what happens. You don't need to cut it out to know. If you have a nodule, they're quick to biopsy. Oof, I usually get the story. I'm like, oh, damn, why didn't you reach? Oh, she got the biopsy. No, come to me first. Should I get the biopsy? I think I feel something. Or my doctor said I had a nodule and suggested a biopsy. Should I do it, Amanda? No, you shouldn't. Okay, don't come to me. Oh, I did the biopsy already. Well, now you just damaged the tissue. You bypassed what it was doing. You broke a mechanism. You punctured into layers of tissue. You caused localized inflammation. You caused more scar tissue in the area, and you just made this whole thing harder to heal. Not impossible. I'm just saying, you made it harder to heal when you do it. So don't do it. Okay? They're blind, right? They're blind. If they don't see it on a piece of paper, they don't know what to do with you. They can't make a diagnosis without the piece of paper. This is the intellectual idiot's demise, is they have no eyes to see. They have no intuition. They have no gut feeling. They have and not even that. Aside from that, because naturopaths, same thing. They have no intuition, whatever. But the main issue is they don't make the connections. They have no pattern recognition at all. It's amazing. It took me forever to figure out they have zero pattern recognition. They can't actually put it together. They can't see it. I'm like, oh my God, you can't see that? They're linear thinkers. They can't think multidimensional. I can. And I thought that's normal. I still think it should be normal. Maybe it's bred out of us. I don't know. I know people who can pattern recognize. All I need to do is see something a couple of times. I know I can see the pattern. Why can't you see the pattern? I don't know. Can you see the pattern of communism? Because it's around. Just saying. Anyway, hi, I missed you guys too. I know I haven't been on. I got big news, good news, but I have to keep it but there's cool shit happening. Okay, but tell you later. Okay, so now don't freaking cut it. The tissue is pissed at you. You need to fix it. That's really the answer, okay? Cutting it out, suiciding the tissue will never solve anything. And the damn drugs, the synthroids, and even the armor thyroid and all that stuff, the synthroid is one of the hardest drugs to get off of. It's up there with SSRIs and some of the other poisons they give people, and they don't tell them that they're going to be on it. They tell you you're going to have to be on it for life, but what they don't tell you is that good luck getting off of it. Nice. We'll put it on that easy, but good luck getting off. It'll probably take you 5 or 6 years to get off the drug, and you'll be suffering for it. But anyway, have a nice day. So Synthroid and this type of a T4 substitute is stupid. Okay, because it makes things worse, because it's not addressing the root cause, just like everything. Okay, it's not addressing the nutritional factors. It's not addressing the root cause organ, which is actually the adrenals and not the thyroid. Okay, it's not addressing the liver problem. It's not addressing the level of tissue degradation due to toxic overload in that person's life. No, not dealing with that. They never do they? They just like, oh, I have a drug for that. Oh, I have a toxin for that. Oh, by the way, it will damage your liver further. It will let your hair continue to fall out. It'll look like your hair is coming back. I forgot to mention that as a sign and symptom of hypothyroidism. It'll look like your hair is growing back for a little while, and then it'll really start to thin out, and good luck getting that back. Okay. It's not a drug you want to be on. I've only been able to get probably a quarter of my clientele off of this drug completely, because the rest of them, they come to me, they've been on the damn thing for 25 years. I mean, by then the gland is non-responsive, and you're trapped. And I even had ones that they've had the radioablation and they're trapped. They can't get off the Synthroid. It's almost, I'm not saying never. I'm just saying it's so hard. What they would need to do it is very big, and they can have all kinds of symptoms where they can't function, and they can't be in that state for so long, right? They don't have anyone to take care of them to go through even the withdrawal. So try not to get on it in the first place. If you've only been on it a year or two, you're probably in a good position to be able to get off it, and you're going to heal these organs, and you're going to put the nutrition back, and I'm going to tell you what that is. Okay. Now I want to preface this. Food is your medicine. Okay. It's your medicine. I know I have supplements. I understand. I wish I didn't have to use the damn things. You know why I have to use the damn things? Because people are so far gone. Their guts are so messed and they're so lost. I got to start them somewhere, or they get nowhere. The food thing can take months to sort out. What do I eat? What I don't eat? How do I shop now? How do I prepare food now? It's not like, oh, I'm just going to change my diet. It's a process. So the supplements, the reason they are there for you is to get the nutrition and stop the progression of the disease state, so you can anchor yourself properly, get a foothold, and then make the appropriate lifestyle changes for you to get ahead of this. Okay. They're not meant for you to be on for the rest of your life. Okay. You shouldn't have a cabinet full of 18,000 things that you just pop randomly. There's no point to that. Okay. You're taking things for a reason. You're taking things with a diligence, and generally you have to take them depending, but I am literally generalizing, between 6 months and a year. Between 6 months and a year is probably about the average of what people need to do to correct something, because it's real easy to damage it, and it's not as easy to get it all back to normal again. It seems to be that way about this place here. But it's doable. I'm not saying it's not. And if you're really diligent and you're really disciplined and you're already making lifestyle changes, then you don't need to be on it that long at all. Okay. And you might just need to pulse things. So what I do is I do certain corrections and make sure, and I check through my nutrients, and I'm like, have I been getting enough vitamin D? Have I been getting out in the sun? Have I been getting enough iodine? Because we don't get it unless we're coastal. If you're not coastal, you're iodine deficient, and iodine deficiency alone can cause a hypothyroid situation. Okay. And hyper too. So your iodine status is going to matter when it comes to your thyroid health. Okay. And you don't get it unless you're seaside. You breathe in seaside air, you get it literally in the air. You can get it from seaweed. I eat a lot of seaweed. I eat seaweed almost every day. So I try to work my mineral levels through food sources. I understand it's not always possible, and that's when you go to supplements, but you're always working toward that. Okay. That's always going to be the goal. It's very important to understand that. I'm not I only use the professional supplements because I've had to. I've literally had to because there's so many corrections that have to be made, and they have to be made immediately. Like, you have to be able to take that supplement and move along, right? And then the background, then here's the food plan. Here's what you do. Here's what you eat, that sort of stuff. So I suggest go to Yummy Doctor, my website. It's up there. Okay. Don't have to put .com or .fart or .net or .woo. You can just put .doctor, because that's the domain name, and register there, because I'm working on membership, protocols, freebies, handouts, educational materials, courses, videos that are members only. I'm getting there, because we got to up the teaching. We got to empower you. You got to know what to do. And you think there's going to be services in the future like what we think we have now? No, that's going to change. So, and anyway, the services you think you're going to have access to, they're all now completely discriminatory. So if you don't do what they say, you don't get the service. That's basically what's happening. Is a complete and utter apartheid. A grand medical apartheid is happening currently. And if you don't want to poison yourself and throw yourself off the cliff of the death cult, you don't get to go to their services. You don't get their services. So we have to start thinking about our own services. Okay. What do we do for these things? And you're going to have to rise up, rise up, rise up. There's the theme. Yeah. Okay. I was born in the 70s. You can't blame me for being an 80s child. I'm Gen X, bitches. Okay. I'm the bridge generation. I remember before computers. I know how it was. All right. Don't think I'm stupid. I feel for a lot of the surrounding generations around me, both ends. I really do. So, okay, so let's go get into it. I'm not going to get into other topics and stuff. So let's talk about vitamin D then, because I know there's a lot of contention around it, and I know they're synthetic, they're lab formed, derived. I prefer to get it from fish sources, if you can get clean fish. So we're getting in conundrums here. Are our soils enlivened? Not really. Is our air really good and clean? No. Is our water polluted? Yeah. Do we have fish polluted? Yeah. And oceans polluted? Yeah. We have trouble. I've been taking the vitamin D, the derivative, a long time. I have no problems with it. I do not find it toxic at all. The problem is people take high doses and they don't balance out with vitamin A, and you have to take it with vitamin A, or you will create toxicity with vitamin D, high doses of vitamin D. So it's just about know what you're doing, know that they're paired and that the body doesn't do things singly. So if you start to do high doses of something, understand their pairings and their interconnections and what they're going to draw upon to do the job, to use the backbone for all kinds of hormone building and that sort of thing. I have no problem taking vitamin D. I do not think it's toxic at all. I think that it has to be done appropriately with the vitamin A together with it. And of course, always, what am I going to say? Plenty of topical magnesium. That's right. You know, I'm going to just talk about magnesium. I could talk about magnesium all day. I could be Carolyn Dean right here. I could be Dr. Carolyn damn Dean talking about magnesium, and praise her for doing it, because I could do it too, because it's so important and she's so right. Okay. So the magnesium needs to go on the skin. Why? Because you don't absorb enough in the gut. But if you have a thyroid issue and you don't sleep well and you're trying to beef up your magnesium levels, what I suggest is you do the topical DMSO with magnesium. I have a small bottle here. It's on my website, yumnaturals.store. There's I'm sorry if that's terrible. I make this one. This is a travel size. And then I have the big goon, the 8-ouncer. Okay. Shake it up, spray. I do chest. Yes. In the morning. Just like that. And then I do my legs before bed, and it's helpful for restless legs, of course. And then I take, these is magnesium bisglycinate. There you go. It's 100 milligrams. You can take up to 3 of them, but I usually just take 1 or 2 before bed. Okay. And let's see. How many is in here? 120 capsules. That's a good amount. Okay. So that is a biomed product. that I add in, because you will absorb about, 1/3-ish of magnesium that you ingest orally. Even less if you have leaky gut or like gut problems, but I'd rather put some in, and I'd also rather the system there use it locally, go right to the liver, go right in the gut, and the body will use the magnesium for cleaning up the local area. So I like the systemic stuff topically. That's going to help to support your liver detox. Remember, if you want to remember about liver detox, go to yummy.doctor, type in liver detoxification or detox. That my liver video will come up about all the 7 different routes of elimination in the liver, and that magnesium is its rate limiting steps, which means that if you run out of magnesium, you're going to have congestion, you're going to have backlog, which means your blood is not going to be purified when it rolls through, which means you're going to roll through toxins into your system and cause problems in other organ systems, including the kidneys, including the lungs. You think that people get sick because, wow, I just ran into somebody and they made me sick. That's not how sickness works. It's just proven 1,000 times over. It's just the TV that tells people that it's the other way. And people are so powerfully programmed. They believe it, and they actually use placebo effect. They can make themselves sick with belief. That's your contagion. What happens is they put ding-dongs in their mouth and they drink pop all day, and they're stressed out and they're dehydrated and they can't poop and they can't sleep. And they're stressed to the nines, and they do all kinds of other drugs and smoking or whatever the heck they're putting in their body, thinking that they're invincible, and that, those. And well, their body's gonna try its mightiest to make a cold or a flu experience for them, which is a detox, which is a clean out. If you actually detox ahead of time, you will never, ever, 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 ever have those symptoms again, ever, never, and ever. I don't remember. I don't even remember the last time I ever got a cold or flu. No, because I do coffee enemas. Like, no, I don't poison myself. That kind of stuff. I detox regularly. I don't poison myself. I eat proper food. I get my proper nutrition. I work my body. I garden like a mofo. I have a good sex life. Did you need to know that? No. But you should. And by the way, if your thyroid's messed up, so is down there. So there's other problems. And usually you start seeing thyroid issues even more so when you start getting menopausal, because there's also a progesterone connection to that, which we'll get to. So you're not working out, you're not sweating, you're not moving your blood or your lymph. What do you expect? How's the body supposed to clean itself out? What do you think it's going to do? It's just going to go, very quietly tonight, everyone. Let's just gently, let's not disturb her. Let's just get mucus, but not a lot, just a little. She'll just wake up with a little trickle. She won't even notice. And we'll get all those toxins out, and that'll be done. No way. There's no way. It's going to go, holy Lord of mercy, get this crap out, get it oozing from this person. Out. Okay. And they're like, I'm sick. I caught it from Betsy, that bitch. It's like, no, you didn't, you frickin' idiot. You made it. You created it. It's your fault. It's your fault. You made yourself sick, and you don't want to take self-responsibility for it because you're an egomaniac. So you'd rather put it on somebody else or something else, because that's how fragile you are. You cannot say, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I'm sorry, body. I treated you like a trash compactor. And then I got sick, and I did it all by myself. Ah, darn it. I mean, the TV helped, and all the propaganda helped, and the quacks helped too. But still, I could have learned, and I could have turned this ship around before it crashed into the iceberg, But, oh well, you know what it's better to do? Blame others. You know what caused it? That person didn't wear a mask when they were moving furniture. Those people moving furniture, they caused this. That's right. That's them. See them? They did it because they didn't, do what I do, which is suffocate myself. Yeah. That's right. So that's the epidemic we're seeing right now. It's lack of self-responsibility. Okay. All right. So let's get to some of the stuff that we use to correct it. We need to support the adrenals, okay? The adrenals and the thyroid, think of them as a pair. Just think of them together. The adrenals sit on the renals, which is the kidneys, right? And they are responsible for all your stress responses. They're actually responsible for part and parcel of creating certain hormones other than that. And they also regulate a lot of your blood pressure too, by the way. Think about when you get stressed and your blood pressure goes up through the roof, right? Adrenaline is involved. But that constant leaking out of stress is going to affect all kinds of tissues. That alone, your hair falls out when you're stressed, right? Yeah, that's because of the relationship with the thyroid. So think adrenals, think thyroid as one, okay? When the adrenals are burnt out, they will pull and use the thyroid because they've got nothing else to use. So now the thyroid will become the organ responsible for the job that that the adrenals are doing. Then when a woman becomes in their menopausal years and they now do not have the ovaries to use to create estrogens, okay, the body switches and says, oh, you know what? The adrenals saying, or the ovaries are saying, no, thanks. There's no eggs here. No one's at the inn. We're done. What'll happen is it'll start pinging the adrenals. So they already have an adrenal deficiency leading to thyroid. It's probably subclinical. They're not really totally noticing. They're just putting on a bit of poundage, a little bit tired, think it's normal, right? And then what happens? They go through menopause. When they go through menopause, boom, now they're freaking maniacs. I'm sure you've met some of these women. Some of them are called Karen, I guess. And they're nuts, okay, because they can't even cope. They can't cope with that. You can't function like that. I mean, you're totally gone at that point. Your brain, like I said, now it's hitting the pituitary. Can't even keep up anymore. Now it's going to higher organs. And now you have a loopy ass, hot and cold flashing, can't sleep, absolute bitch on your hands. And you can correct that. Yes, you can. With my new Bitch Be Gone. No, I'm just kidding. There actually is something called Bitch Be Gone. It's like an essential oil spray. It's for menopausal women. And that was brilliant. Oh, shit. Okay, so let's get to some of the basic nutrients, and then we'll move on to some of the causations. I'm not going to go through everything in my Yummy.Doctor courses. I will go more in detail of what you do and so I have to teach you how to triage. So is it this, that, or the other thing? Is it Hashimoto's? Is it hyper? Is it fluctuating? Is it just from an event? What's the history of it? And how long has it been progressing for? But very similar responses to at least initially to go into. So always magnesium. You're going to use 7 to 10 sprays on the skin twice a day. I like the one with DMSO because it's not itchy, and magnesium oil can be itchy because the estrogen receptors on the skin, and also the fact that it's going through the skin, and that's a natural side effect of transdermal. But with the DMSO, it's interesting because DMSO is itchy, when you just put it on, and so is magnesium separate. But when you put them together, no itch. So it's like they're helping each other out. So it's a beautiful combination, and you don't need to use as many sprays because you're going to absorb it better. Plus, you're going to get the benefits of DMSO. Of course, you can read my book to find out all the details of that, recipes, protocols, that kind of stuff. And I recommend 50% here, 50%. This is one I make with colloidal silver, 50% DMSO with colloidal silver over the thyroid at least once a day, ideally twice a day. And I would suggest throwing a drop of iodine or 2 in there as well. This one is from Biotics Research, which you can also take a couple of drops in your water easily. And I like this one because it's not Lugol's. It's not a yellow staining stuff, which I can't. I don't know how you people do that. You know what? I like MSM sulfur. I'm fine. It's bitter, but I can do it. But that iodine is so gross. It makes me gag. But this stuff is not, it's deodorized. It's not, it's actually clear. It won't stain. If you put it in your water and leave it, it will mature and it'll smell like iodine. If you take it right away, it's fine. Tissue salts are a must, an absolute must. Come on, people. Come on. Tissue salt deficiency can cause all kinds of things. Of course, your quacks will never, ever. They don't know what it is, right? They don't know who Schussler is. They don't know that Schussler, was diagnosing serious diseases, including what they call smallpox, which was a caliphos deficiency. Okay, caliphos is one of the tissue salts. They don't even understand what biochemical means, that there's salts inside every one of your cells, that are functional biochemically and electrically that help the cell run all its systems and its mitochondrial systems. And Dr. Schüssler identified every single one of them, and there's 12. And it's brilliant. And it just shows you, not only that it's brilliant, but it shows you how above and below this place is, that when you can actually link the tissue cells to astrology, to the signs of astrology, to the big clock in the sky, you can do all the connections. And it's like, again, whatever this hologram is that we are of that. We are that, golden mean spiral. We are that. So we can see that in reflection in ourselves, it's absolutely mind-boggling. Okay, so the other thing that I usually suggest right away, and if you're stressed, probably just right away, is the bioashwagandha. Okay, it's an herb, or you can I have ashwagandha powder. You can put powders in smoothies and that sort of thing. It's 1 teaspoon a day of ashwagandha if you're using a smoothie. This is Biotics research called bioashwagandha. It is Withania somnifera. It's a root, okay? And it's 300 milligrams of it in a capsule form, so that you take this particular one. You really just once a day is enough. You don't need a lot. And it will assist your cortisol system. So essentially, it can decrease your cortisol levels, usually by about 30% or so that you're not frenetic and like, oh my God. And if you're stressed like that and you're eating, you should never eat stressed, ever, ever, ever. The second you eat stressed, you're hurting your gut, period. You're causing gut inflammation. You're damaging the lining of the gut. Now, the lining will shed constantly. I get that. But you don't want to keep doing that to your gut, because you will cause all kinds of malnourishment. So if you're stressed, okay, first of all, people should be fasting on a regular basis. Secondly, if you're stressed, but you got to eat, you haven't ate all day, you're hungry, sit down and do just at least 3 or 4 deep breaths. I mean, slow right down, like really slow, deep breathing, and calm yourself down. Smell your food. You might want to take some digestive enzymes or apple cider vinegar before you eat, diluted in water, and just eat. Just focus on eating. Don't read stressful things on your phone. Don't get distracted by stress. Just breathe first, because the second you do that, second you start to breathe, you tell your system that there's nobody's chasing you, you're safe. If you can breathe deeply, then you're not running, you're safe, right? So your body says, we're safe right now. So we can actually go into rest and digest mode from our fight and flight situation, okay? And it only takes a few breaths to get you there. It's a very easy exercise, and you will increase your digestion immensely. Just that alone, okay? Do not eat on the run. Do not eat stressed. Do not eat in your car. Do not eat when you're like half road raging. Say, get out of here, you fuck. Are you one of those double shots? What are they calling it now? I used the word today in an interview. They're called accidents. Car accidents. Accidents. Because they're so dull after they've had the two they're just like, I can't even drive anymore. That's where they're at. So I have insiders, by the way. I haven't even begun what I'm going to begin. I have insiders that work at hospitals. And wow, did I get an earful today about what's going on in the hospitals. Whoo, my God. A lot of admittance from elders. Why? Because they've fallen and hit on their face and broken their noses because they're so dizzy from that they're falling down and hurting themselves and getting admitted to hospital. Just, chronically speaking. All right. So we talked about magnesium. That's a must. You have to. You just have to. Okay. Unless you're really like you're growing like your soil is mwah, then you're going to need it. And you can buy magnesium flakes and you can make it yourself. It's really not that hard. Go on Pinterest or something and go how to make magnesium oil. It's simple. It's really simple. I put aloe vera in mine so it calms it down and helps with the absorption and itch and all that kind of jazz. Okay, another really important thing, if you do have nodules, all right, you need to break down the scar tissue. So one of the ways to do it is with a systemic enzyme. This is called clearazyme. It's a proteolytic enzyme, okay? It is taken in between meals. It's not to digest food. It's to digest bits elsewhere in your body. So nodules, scar tissue, old injuries, old wounds, that's what you use that for. And it is 1 capsule with food. They're saying 1 capsule with food up to 4 times a day, but I don't use it like that. See, it says for occasional use only. You're supposed to only use it for 7 days. So you use 1 capsule in between meals. Don't listen to their instructions. And that's enough. And you do it for 7 days and you stop. Okay. And that's going to help you absorb the bits. It's a proteolytic, means it breaks up proteins, breaks up. It's not going to go after your good protein. It's only going to go after debris. So that is part of it can really assist when you have thyroid issues. There's actually been quite a few studies on that. All right. So we have the Clearzyme. Now, the main nutrition that seems to support the thyroid itself, not related to adrenals, is tyrosine, selenium, zinc would be good to get into your system. Iodine, of course, like we mentioned. Vitamin D, like we mentioned. And zinc. I said them right. Zinc, selenium, iodine, and tyrosine. Okay, those are your, if you were thinking of a pathway, if you're thinking of like a biochemical pathway, and you're getting from A to B to C to D to do a job, you have intermediates that have to come in to add on, right? Like just think about a molecule. It's going to add on a piece, then it's going to change its form, and then its form is function. It's going to change its function, then it's going to move on to the next thing. So you're adding in these nutritional molecules to assist the pathways to move along so that they can get the function done. So if you think of it in that biochemical way, it really helps you understand why. So what we do is we've studied all of these different pathways, and those pathways are related to different parts of the nutritional status. And in certain organs need certain more of one thing than another. Now, all cells need fats, there's minerals, the cell salts like we talked about, water, everything's going to need a certain amount of something. But the higher proportion is you target that organ, and that's the deficiency. Okay. So those things tend to be low for the specific needs of the thyroid gland on its own. Okay. When it's processing through the tyrosine, selenium, it's using those molecules to work your metabolism forward. Then it's going to go forward and interact with the rest of your organ system. So a couple of things. Oh, I forgot to tell you about Psy-Stabil with the stress, so I will in a minute. So one of the things that I just put people on who don't want to do the individual nutrition, like meaning they don't want to take selenium, they don't want to take the L-tyrosine separately, is this BioThy by Biomed. Okay, and it's a thyroid support. So it has everything in it. You don't need to worry. 1 capsule 2 times a day with food, easy. And the other thing I want to mention about supplements is a lot of the times I'm trying to get people off of meds, right, drugs, and they're so used to popping a pill. So it's easier if you just change up the meds, and now they're in a supplement, and they can still use their little pill containers and all that stuff. And it's something about the psychology of it that it gets them out of that rut, and then they can fade that away, But they're so used to the pill is the cure, or the pill is the thing, that even just trying to tell them about, nutrition is overwhelming. So you got to get them right and get them off the drugs first, and then transition them that way. So I find that another reason or why supplements can be very helpful. Okay, so what I wanted to say was about Psy-Stabil and the Pekana products, which I love them. Psy-Stabil, it will stop a panic attack, basically, in its tracks. Take a couple drops on the tongue. It's like a tincture. It's actually a spagyric homeopathic blend, very powerful, very ancient remedies. And that blend will help with the stress response. You can also put it in, say, your water bottle, like, you pack a water bottle to go to work or to go out. You can put the dosage in your water bottle for the day and sip at it. So you can take it direct in the mouth, you can take it in water, or you can just take it as needed. You can also take it regularly, 15 drops 3 times a day as a course to deal with chronic stress. So the while we're on spagyrics, the other one I like for menopausal symptoms is called Clefem. Clefem, you can see that. There's the English. 15 drops 3 times a day in water. Helps with climacteric issues. It's a nice way of saying, bitch, be gone. And apohepat, one of my favorites. That's your liver cleanse. Gentle, intracellular, upregulates the removal of waste without overwhelming the system. Actually will heal fatty liver. I've had people with, like, on paper, they come to me, they've been told that by the doctor they have a fatty liver. They've been told they have bad enzymes or they're high enzymes, right? So their liver enzymes are out of whack. Go on that magnesium, go back to the doctor, numbers are perfect. So if you somehow need, I know there's a growing number of people that seem to need really good tests in order to continue to work, like truck drivers, for example, right? People who they have to do health checks as part of their work, which must be very difficult right now. So, you know, some of these remedies can really help you get those systems right so that you're not testing out of bounds, and they won't, because then they'll say, oh, you have to get medicated or you can't work. I mean, get put in a real pickle. You don't want to be in those positions. And then the proper one for the thyroid is called Apostrum. Apostrum is what you want to work with, that and the Biothy together. If you're on Synthroid, you want to start to get off or try to work off of it, that and the magnesium, you're going to really be diligent about that to try to drain out the toxins, especially if you've had toxic thyroid in any way, shape, or form. You want to make sure that you start to work with the drainage systems. That's really going to help you, get that thyroid kicked up a notch and get your energy back together. Graves' disease is the big I thing. Hyperthyroid or Graves' disease. I actually have a tea blend. I make a couple of tea blends. I make a lot of tea blends, actually. One of the tea blends I make is called Clearing Stress. So that's a good one as well for this situation. As well as one's called Thyrocalm. So Thyrocalm is if you have Graves' disease or hyperthyroidism, and it actually helps to regulate and tone down the highs. It's not really designed for hypothyroid. Once I get a little more situated and plans come together that I'm working on, I will be able to really refine all my teas nicely, get ones for all conditions, because honestly, you need botanicals, guys. Somewhere in your protocols, you must have an herb somewhere, has to be, because it's the missing link. It always has, not only the constituents and the things that are doing some actions, but you're getting such like minerals, you're getting all kinds of vitamins, you're getting just this, it's just, there's nutrition that's very deep in herbals, and you always want to have something somewhere in your arsenal when you're trying to treat anything or trying to balance anything. So that's why I really like the teas, because they just kind of add in that layer to support the entire system going through really a lot of work. I mean, really, you're trying to heal. So you should be trying to sleep and trying to rest. You're not pushing yourself. So you should consider that, making time for yourself, making time for rest. If you have to take a nap, take a nap. If you have to take a detox bath, you need to take a detox bath. If you got to do an enema, you got to do an enema. Okay? You make time for those things. You have to sort those in. Just like make time for taking a tea. And these are teas that are prepared strongly. So that means they're soaked and even simmered so that the medicine is really extracted from the herbs. Sea Boost, I really like. Sea Boost is, that's Biomed buffered, effervescent vitamin C. So we talked about Biothy. We talked about the proteolytic enzyme. We talked about the magnesium, the bioashwagandha, the apostrum, those remedies, the tissue salts. So now let's talk about the adrenal factor into this. Two of the big things for adrenal factors are going to be a B multi, a B complex. Okay. When you want to tone down your stress response, you're going to need B vitamins, period. The B complement will help regulate the adrenal glands and then help your energy levels come up. I mean, so you take one in the morning with your breakfast, and you can ride a lot of that energy coming from that. It's part of your metabolic function. So it's intimate with the adrenals and the adrenal function and many other components of the body. I mean, these are fundamental nutritional needs of your body that are very depleted, especially when you're under chronic stress. It's going to use more of them. It just makes sense. If you're an athlete and you're pushing your body all the time and you're remaking more cells and you're straining it, you're going to go through more resources. You're going to need more. I mean, when I was tree planting, I would eat a house. I would take it out the nails and spit them out. I'd probably eat a house. That's how hungry I was. I was working out and sweating all day long. When I got back to camp, I ate mounds of food like that. I mean, it was crazy. I don't eat like that now. That's huge about food. But you see, your body's will upregulate the needs based on the nutrition, right? The irony is that when your gut's messed up, it's the opposite. It almost doesn't want you. It wants hot food, but it can't do food. So your signaling system gets completely askewed. Kind of like how most people are in the psyop, how they have no inner awareness that there's an alarm. There should be alarm bells going on that something's wrong, but somebody's like cut the connection to the alarm, hammer. That's like what all these psyop people are running around. They have no clue that they're in danger. They've lost the signal, right? So when you constantly damage your gut, you lose the signal because you also don't make serotonin. You don't make a lot of your chemicals for your brain. So you can't think right as well. So you're not going to eat well. You're going to have weird cravings. You're not going to know why you have the cravings. Most people crave chocolate because they're magnesium deficient. So just instead of letting your cravings own you, go instead and go, oh, well, I know I'm not eating right, exercising right, sleeping right, pooping right, drink enough water, get your ducks in a row of your basics covered. Fast would probably be the best thing. Just stop doing it. You don't have to continue to feed this all day long. You know that, right? Yeah. Some people only eat once a day, Some people only have breakfast and have like a light dinner. So all kinds of different eating patterns and placements. And you want to find out what's right for you. And you don't want your gut inflammation. And if you eat something and you get bloating and gas, you didn't do right. You didn't do right by your body. You made a mistake. Okay. Take some enzymes and probiotics and some fermented foods and hope that just clears real quick. Like, don't eat fruit on top of savory food. You don't ever, the dessert thing that they made that a reality just shows you how 180 this world is. Eat your damn dessert first, because that's probably fruit. So your fruits digest super quick. They're meant to digest quick. They're a very light way of eating. And if your gut's a mess, you should just probably fruit fast. That's probably the best way to go. Just easy to digest foods, easy to assimilate foods. Don't overwhelm your system that's damaged. It can't cope. Okay, you're just going to poop it out. You're going to make all kinds of strange ferments in your gut, and you're going to piss off a lot of your microorganisms. Don't piss them off. All right, so I said B-complex C boost, by the way, is buffered. You need sodium, believe it or not. You need sodium, guys. Sodium's not the devil, all right? The New World Order is the devil. C boost, 5 grams twice a day is where you want to get to minimum. You want good high doses of vitamin C, all right? Because you can gorge on fruits if you want to get your vitamin C. You could do like fresh squeezed orange juice to get lots of vitamin C. You can use acerola cherry. There's all kinds of food sources of vitamin C. I don't care where you get it from. Okay? I just care that you get it. So you work on what you like for your vitamin C needs, and you get them up there, because we're cycling through vitamin C like none other. I mean, your skin integrity is dependent on vitamin C, and not just your external skin, your internal skin too. Your whole gut lining needs it to repair. Your tissues need it to be strong. It's an antioxidant to the max. Yes, there's lots of different antioxidants. They're good because they sequester free radicals, which means that they're part and parcel of the repair network of your body. So they help to get rid of waste, right? Okay. Do I have anything else? Oh yeah. So, okay, quickly before I wrap up, because I need to, I want to, I have to. I got needs, I got wants. Is the hormonal problem. Because boy, we have hormonal problems, man. Holy Jesus. And they're worse. They're just getting worse. So what's happened is we've been, basically poisoned through pesticide residues, which is on all the foods, basically. Even the organic foods are full of that. We have to be very careful of what we eat. We have to avoid GMO foods at all costs. And we're plasticked to death. We've got all kinds of xenoestrogens or estrogen mimickers in our environment that are getting into us. A lot of the drugs people are on are also estrogen mimickers. We have problems, man, big time. They've been killing the male off. They've been trying to feminize the male because they don't want us to fight back. So men need to get their testosterone in order, and women need to get their estrogens in order. And how both parties do so is to supplement first with some natural progesterone. I have a cream called Nat Pro. It's for private members only, so you have to be registered on the site and you have to be gifted the link. So if you want that particular product or you can't find it where you are, please reach out, contact us at yumnaturals.ca and we'll give you the link. Actually, what I can do in this, I'll pop the link in here. Hopefully it'll work. But again, on Yum Naturals, you'd have to be signed in for it to work because it's private. And some people were having problems with it. So anyway, that protocol is specifically to drain xenoestrogens. I did a video on how to do that. I'll see if I can find it. It was basically it was a menopausal type of video, but men can do it as well. So 2 pumps twice a day on the skin. Might need more at the beginning. You feel wonky, meaning estrogen symptoms. Like you have mood swings, you cry at cat videos, your ankles are swollen, you're bloated and you can't poop. That would mean you probably need a little more cream. In the meanwhile, you need to up your magnesium levels. When you take progesterone cream, you must have iodine, vitamin D with vitamin A, and because vitamin D is your backbone of your hormone system and it needs that structure to build upon. And magnesium. So iodine, vitamin D with vitamin A because you're doing it together, or eat lots of beta carotene, have lots of beta carotene. I suggest folate. I would throw folate in that mix as well. Your B complement would cover you. And do that if you're young. So if you're a male, you just do it all the way through. You do it for a couple of cycles, meaning a couple of months for a male. For a woman, it's from your ovulation through to menses only because you're mimicking your natural menstrual cycle. If you're postmenopausal, your period's done, you can go all the way through. And you would do that for a couple of months as you drain all of this junk out of your body, okay? It would be nice if you did coffee enemas. It would be nice if you detoxed in a bath, put some like half a cup of borax, put a cup of baking soda, put a cup of magnesium flakes or Epsom salts, or Himalayan pink salt, something, in the water to help you detox while you do that. And then once you're done, you can switch into the herbal support, which is black cohosh. I have it in a capsule and I have it in a tincture, okay? And you take 1 dose of either a day, again, following either your cycle. If you're still, having menstruation, you can't do this while you're pregnant. Sorry, and you have to be careful what you're doing when you're nursing. So don't do that. Don't do the drainage when you're nursing. You can't detox when you're nursing anyway, for the most part. And you're going to feel better. Your testosterone is going to come up for the men, and the estrogens will balance out for the women, and your progesterone levels will be where they need to be, because it's the backbone of creating these hormones, and you can just pulse it and maintain it with your lifestyle at that point, with your food regime, your exercise regime, and black cohosh here and there to pick it up, because black cohosh does is actually supports the triggering of the creation of progesterone in your system. The progesterone you're adding in actually will store in your fat cells. So when you put it on, you can put it on your arms in the morning, and in the evening put it on your legs, and the next day do your chest and belly, and that night do your back, and the next morning do your buttocks, and then that evening do the back of your legs. Like, just keep rotating the skin that you're using the cream on, so that it starts to store up for you and starts to work the system again. Once the progesterone is producing proper estrogens, they'll compete with the xenoestrogens, and the body wants to get rid of them. And so why I say at the beginning can be troublesome is because if you're not detoxing properly, those xenoestrogens can circulate and you can feel like crapola. You can even have sometimes heart palpitations upon laying. So when you try to go to bed, you feel like the heart pulsing, but not when you stand. That can be part of these, it's a unopposed estrogen syndrome, or a metabolic syndrome that's happening there, where the estrogens are causing this havoc in the body. And that can lead to cancer. And by the way, a lot of this, when I suggest how to help, breast cancers and sorts of things, same thing, do not biopsy. A lot of it is because their progesterone's tanked, and that's what's happened. They've gotten into the nodules in that situation because they're tanked out. They're tanked out. What was a study done, I think, in the 80s or something, and it already showed that by the time adults are hitting their 30s, progesterone is all about tanks. I mean, you can't have babies if you don't have progesterone. If women are having miscarriages, the first thing you do is to start detoxing the xenoestrogens by this method, and you will get a baby. Okay, you'll get pregnant, and how? So you don't even know you don't need to go to fertility clinics and you get the synthetic stuff, which is the natural creams, and build it up and build yourself up properly. Why would you have a baby like that anyway? It'll be sickly. You need to clean and cleanse your body before you have babies. You need to make sure your progesterone levels are ample before you can't hold a pregnancy if your progesterone is tanked. And you can take this cream to hold a pregnancy. I've had many experiences with this. They're starting to spot. They're probably in their early first trimester. They're concerned. They're starting to spot. They're worried. Increase your magnesium. And start doing 1 pump of the cream a day in the body, and you figure it out. So once the bleeding stops, you just stay there, and you can ride that out right into the middle of the second trimester, and then you stop. And you hold the pregnancy. And then when you finish the pregnancy, I know I'm getting on tangent. I just want to say this because it's related to the progesterone. Then after birth, you take it to prevent postpartum depression and to help the breast milk. So you can do it again so that's the only times I recommend doing that process. Okay. There's intermittent times you can do it while you're pregnant and while you're breastfeeding, but you're not doing it to detox. You're doing it to hold a pregnancy, or you're doing it to prevent, depression, and to help with the breastfeeding process. And you're only doing it temporarily. So I've had really great success with that, and it's a very easy thing to do. And you don't need injections, you don't need stress, you don't need more fear from these agendas, right? Take matters into your own hands. Learn, okay? I learned, you can learn, anyone can learn, okay? Don't let them intimidate you that you don't have to. I have tons of degrees. You know how many diplomas and certificates and stuff? Because I thought that's what you had to do. I thought the more training, the more classes, the better. I'm like over-schooled it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And you know what? You can go and you can learn on your own. It can be an autodidact, okay? You can. Don't let people intimidate you and tell you that what you're knowing is irrelevant because you don't have a freaking medical degree or certificates or all of this kind of crap. It's nonsense. Most of those people are fucking morons. The majority of them are morons. You don't want to be compared. That's a compliment, okay? Trust me, it's a compliment. I had to unschool, okay? I had to do years of unschooling my learning. Now, I'm lucky in some senses that I'm not a brainwashable person. I'm not built like that. I don't know. I don't understand those people. I always thought for myself, I never listened. Someone would say something, but yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's interesting. Where'd you get that from? Where'd you get that idea from? That's interesting. Who told you that? Your higher ups told you that? The broken telephone? The broken telephone? That's what most of the knowledge is. All broken telephone. That's what they're taught. They know how to patch shit up. Awesome. Good job. Thanks for emerge medicine. We need emerge medicine. Thank you for putting someone's arm back on. Although I had a story today of someone that didn't all go so well. Oh man, if you could be in my head, the stories I get told. I don't know. I gotta like do some sort of interpretive dance to like express the kinds of stories that people go through with surgeons and doctors. And that's going to get worse, I think, because the dumbing down is so bad. It's infiltrated every agency. So I wouldn't trust. I'd sew my own damn finger on, I think, at this point. No, I'm good. You know what? I put the DMSO on. I just tie it up. It'll grow back. It'll attach. It'll figure it itself out. Oh, shit. I mean, where we're headed, I don't know. Interesting. Anyway, I've met a wonderful woman. Her name's Lauren Mones, and she's the fermenting fairy. And especially if you're in the States, she's got some killer, awesome, real, true, natural ferments. I mean, the correct ferments, not like your fake sugary yogurt. That's not fermented food. That's garbage. Not your fluffy kombucha full of sugar and carbonated. Not that crap. Real ferments that will fix your gut. And she healed her Crohn's colitis situation doing just that. She was on Crow, and it was a great episode. I highly recommend. Go to Crow 777 radio and sign up there, because I mean, as far as content goes, I think that's the top of the stop for high quality content. I mean, I'm on there naturally. Sorry, just had to do that. Not because I'm on there, but because I listen too, and I've been a fan as well. Okay. Too funny. But they just have good content. So, and it's all really teaching you about your body and how you can take control of it yourself and how you can heal yourself and things you can do for yourself. You're not a victim, okay? They want to make you a victim. They want you begging them, for them to kill you, basically. That's kind of how I see it. So you have to take matters into your own hands, and I see many people doing it, and it's wonderful. Now you know something about the thyroid. You know how to help it, support it. When you do any supplement regime, start one thing at a time. Keep a diary, a journal, a health journal. How do I feel today? What are my energy levels out of 10? I feel like shit today, it's 2 out of 10. I feel great today, it's 7, 8 out of 10. Okay, you gauge yourself every day. Check in. How you doing? Keep a record, just a little date. Slept well for the first time in ages. Took that magnesium, and holy shit, I'm so glad I slept. Because then when you are out of the woods and you feel better, what naturally happens when you heal is you completely forget how shitty it was, which is great. It's great. But you do generally forget that you suffered so terribly because you get an amnesia. It's built in, especially I think more so in women somehow. And it probably has to do with the pregnancy situation, because if you actually remembered how much that fucking hurt, you probably never have another baby again. So I think you have to have amnesia for pain. And it's a mechanism, and it's fine. You move along in life. So if you keep record, you go back, oh, wow, look how bad I was 6 months ago. Whoa, I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't pooping. I was miserable sod. I was about ready to off myself. And now look at me, So you have your own record of progress. It's important. And not just for you, but if someone comes to you and says, oh, I got a thyroid nodule. Oh my God, I'm so stressed. You go, oh, well, don't let them biopsy it. Here's a video by Amanda Vollmer, and she'll help you out. And here's what I did. And here, I'm going to go back in my records, and this is how I helped, because we all have to be advocates now. We can't everyone has to be an expert, I think, now. Okay. So find out your skill set and master your form, master your body, clean it up, discipline time, and, just understand that if you've got a thyroid imbalance, you can correct it all naturally. I've done it hundreds and hundreds of times. Wonderful outcomes, happy people, their weight starts dropping off, they're less stressed, all the symptoms go away, their hair comes back, they're all excited about it. It heals. You do not need to be on their drugs. You do not need to cut out anything. Ever, ever, ever. That's a red flag. If any doctor or any practitioner tells you that they need that tissue to understand your body and what you're going through. If they say that, you say, nice to meet you, and bye-bye. and you run the other way, far away. It is not the answer, and that is not the cure. All right. So at least if you know what not to do, gets you closer to what to actually do. Yeah. There's lots of resources online. You can learn about each of the individual things I mentioned today. You can go to yumnaturals.store to find the products I just mentioned. You can go to yummy.doctor to register for more of the training that I'll be offering. And if you want to learn more about DMSO, you can go to healingwithdmso.com to learn about my book, which is a very practical guide for people who, they don't have a science degree or something, that a medical degree, and they want to understand how to use DMSO safely. And that's what I wrote the book for. So you've got everything you need to heal yourself. So all you need now is courage. That's it. And trust in have faith in your brilliance of your body and the design of the creator, and that it was all meant for you to succeed, and that you've got everything in you to do just that. And know you're not alone. And I bless you all, and I wish you all the best. And we'll talk with you, of course, very soon. Lots of love. Bye for now.